Hi, my name is Ashley. I'm with Vinyasa Yoga. Today we're going to be focused on opening up the hips as well as the lower back. I know a lot of people experience chronic pain in those areas, so we're going to take this practice nice and slow. When you're ready, grab 2 blocks as well as a blanket and we'll get started off on our mat. Let's go ahead and get started off in child's pose. Bringing the hands to the top of the mat. We're going to send the knees to the middle, toes come together, knees wide. If you would like a blanket underneath your knees, placing that there, and then the hips are going to come back towards the heels. Reach the fingertips forward, allow the head to rest down. This should be a nice release into the lower back here, release into the hips. But sometimes it can start to feel like a lot, so take whatever modifications that you need. Honor that in your practice. And just 2 more, just like this. And then grounding firmly through the palms. You're going to lift your weight forward, stack the shoulders in line with the wrists. Now narrow the stance of the knees and separate at the feet. We're going to move through cat-cow, but we're going to go nice and slow. Inhale as you look up, drop the belly, just hold it like this. And then exhale, full exhale, round through the spine. 2 more times. Inhale, drop the belly, lift the tailbone. Exhale, navel to spine, tuck the chin under. Last time here. Press firmly through the palms, lift the gaze. Exhale, gaze back towards the thighs. And then finding a neutral spine, you're going to kick your left foot out at an angle. Right leg is going to extend long. Now drop your right heel down. Left hand stays in line with the shoulder. Reach the right hand up towards the sky. So think about the right hip. Can you tuck it under and press it forward? And then option to keep the right hand up towards the sky. Maybe start to find a little bit more through the entire side body. Right hand over the ear. And then when you're ready, utilize the core. Right palm travels to the mat, left leg through center, and then right leg meets it. We just simply switch sides, kicking the right foot out at an angle, left leg long, drop your heel, reach your left hand up towards the sky. Once again, you think about that left hip. Can you tuck it under, press it forward? And then staying here, left hand up and over the ear, find that C curve of the spine. And then wherever you are, everything drops back down to the mat into that table stance. We're going to tuck the toes and lift the hips into downward facing dog. Hips come high and back. Just pedal out here. We're not going to be in this posture very long, but just allow the hamstrings to open. And then think about when you're ready to find stillness, send the tailbone up towards the sky. And then we're going to shift forward into a plank. Shoulders in line with the wrist, chin off the chest. Drop down to the knees, untuck the toes, and then you're going to start to bring your weight forward and lower all the way down to the belly. Take your right elbow, bring it to the mat, fingers forward. Same thing with that left arm. Now roll the shoulder blades down and gaze forward. I know for me, if I have a lot of tension into my lower back, I tend to hold in this posture. And what do I mean by that? I mean, I hold into the glutes and I create all this engagement instead of just letting everything settle. So I encourage you, can you just relax and focus here on the breath? And then looking over your right shoulder, and back through center. Look over the left shoulder. And then come back through center. Dropping down to the belly, you're going to take your hands right where the chest would be. Roll the shoulder blades back, elbows in. Tuck the toes, press up onto the knees. We're going to take rabbit. Hips come back towards the heels. Elongate the fingertips forward, head rests down, toes tucked under. And this is a great posture, one of my favorites as far as opening up the lower back. Just feel that nice release here. And 2 more. Pressing into the palms, come forward into a tabletop. We'll tuck the toes and lift into downward facing dog. Walking slowly all the way to the top of the mat, it's a forward fold. Grabbing hold of your blocks, you're going to place them on the outsides of both feet at the highest setting. Inhale, just lengthen the chest forward. See if you can rock some weight into your toes. And then exhale, bend the knees, get a nice curvature through the spine, and then drop your chin. We'll do this 2 more times. Inhale, straighten the legs, lengthen it forward. Exhale, bend the knees, round the spine. Last one here. And then we're just going to come up to a flat back. Hold it. Keep your right foot where it is. Extend the left leg back. Press energy through the left heel. Now drop the left knee down, untuck the toes. Keep the blocks where they are, or maybe slide them a little further back if they're too far forward. Lengthen the chest forward. Gaze up. You should feel a great stretch through that left hip here. And then shifting back to a more neutral stance, hips come back, find full engagement. Reach the hands up towards the sky. And then taking the right hand to the back, palm faces you. Just start to look over that right shoulder. Reach your left hand up and over. And then take the left elbow to the outside of your right thigh. Right hand meets the left, and then roll your right shoulder blade back. Nice little twist here, releasing the spine. Gaze back. And then come back through center nice and slow, cores engaged. Taking your hands to the blocks, tuck the back toes, lift the knee, step it forward. Now if you move the blocks back slightly, situate them a little further forward. We're going to take the same thing as before. Inhale, lengthen it up. Exhale, bend the knees, round, tuck the chin. 2 more like this. Inhale, come up. Exhale, and we round. Last one. And then exhale. And then finding that neutral spine. You're going to keep your left leg forward this time. Take your right leg, send it back. Now press energy through the back heel. Drop down to the back knee, untuck the toes. Option to stay here with the blocks. Maybe you slide them a little further back. Lengthen the chest forward, gaze up. And then finding that neutrality, so hips perfectly engaged, navel in, right leg nice and strong. Reach the hands up towards the sky. Left hand is going to come to the back. Right hand this time up and over the ear. Maybe look over that left shoulder if you'd like a little bit more. And then you're going to take the right elbow, bring it to the outside of that left thigh. Left and right palm meet. Gaze back. Lots of engagement here. And then come back through center. Utilize the core. Pressing your hands to the blocks. Tuck your toes. Lift the knee. Step the right foot to meet the left. Bringing the blocks all the way to the top of the mat. We just release it. Drop the head down. Interlace the fingers in the creases of the arms. Now just bend your right leg only. And then bend your left leg. 2 more times. And then finding neutral, taking your palms to the mat, lengthen up halfway or maybe hands to the shins, and then we drop the hands down. Stepping it back, it's downward facing dog. You're going to take that right leg and reach it up towards the sky. Bend the knee, stack and open. So if this is too much, you can do the exact same thing on your left knee. It's that same stance. Just think about rotating that right hip up, pressing firmly through the palms. And then when you're ready, step the right foot to the outside edge of both hands. You can use your right hand to travel it forward if need be. And then you're going to drop your back knee down, untuck the toes. We're coming back to those blocks. Grab a hold of those, placing them on the inside of that right foot, and just lengthen the chest forward. And then tuck your back toes, lift the back knee. You're going to drop the back heel down. Right hand stays on the block that it's at. Left hand reached up towards the sky. Nice little hippo burner here. Side angle, gaze up. And then reach and grab a hold of that block with the left hand. You're going to take the right leg and straighten it, and then walk the hands with the blocks well out in front of you. You're at a straddle stance. Head drops down. You can sway a little weight from side to side. Just finding a little bit of extension through the back, tailbone nice and high. And then coming back up, take your blocks and slide them back towards you. Turn the right foot to face the front of the room. Blocks at the top of the mat. Left foot meets it. Fold. Release. Hands towards the shins or fingers to the mat. Palm the mat and we step it back. Downward facing dog. Switching sides, left leg lifts up, bend the knee, stack and open. You could always drop down to the right knee here if that suits you better. And then we're gonna take the left foot and step it to the outside edge of both hands. Maybe carry the foot there. Drop the back knee down, untuck the toes. Grab a hold of those blocks at the highest setting. Just lengthen it forward, lift up. And then tucking the back toes, gaze down at the blocks. You're gonna lift the back knee, drop the heel. It's heel to heel alignment. Left hand on that highest setting of the block, right hand reaches up high. So I really want you to explore using the blocks here. It just feels good. You can get in a little bit of different spaces, even if you practice quite often. And then you're gonna grab a hold of that right block and turn. This time it's going to be a little different. Just place the blocks off to the side. You're going to turn the right toes out and bend that knee and flex the left toes up to the sky. So you could use those blocks here if you want a little bit of extra weight to keep yourself in balance. If you want to go further, start to drop the tailbone down, working to get that right heel grounded wherever you are. We breathe for 2 more. And we breathe for 1 more. And then palms either on the blocks or on the mat. We just switch sides. Turning out the left toe slightly, flex the right toes up to the sky. And same as before, right? You could be here and the hands could be on blocks, just working to get to your edge. Maybe it's down low, right? Last few. And then we're gonna leave the blocks over on the right side. So use them if you need to here, and then leave them there. Turn to face the top of the mat and step the right foot to meet the left. Just shake it out, let it go. Deep bend the knees, come all the way up to stand. And then fluttering the eyes open if they're closed, you're gonna take your hands to your hips and tuck your hips under. Roll the shoulder blades back, find some length through the chest, a little bend of the knees, and we're gonna start to lift as we rotate back. Gaze to the back of the room. And then use the core, come back up through center. So only go as far as your body will allow. If you start to feel any pinching sensations, try not to go back as far. We'll do 2 more. Inhale in, exhale, lean it back. And then come back up to neutral stance. 1 more time. Lifting the chest big, inhale in, exhale, lean back. And then finding that neutral stance. Take your hands down by the sides. Inhale, hands to prayer. Close the eyes on the exhale, head bows towards the hands. And then we'll fold it forward. Hands come towards the mat. And then find that rounding of the spine. Take your hands to the nape of the neck, bend the elbows, bend the knees, and then just sway the upper body from side to side, rounding through the spine. And then release the palms down to the mat. We'll step all the way back to downward facing dog. Shifting the weight forward into that plank. Drop down to the knees, untuck your toes. We're gonna lower all the way down to the belly. This time, maybe creating a little bit more elevation. Roll the shoulder blades back. You could always bring your elbows down to the mat as before, or perhaps start to lift up. Remember not to clench through the glutes. You can either keep your gaze forward or maybe elevate it, you decide. And then we release it down. It's back to that rabbit stance. Tuck the toes under, lift the hips, draw them back to the heels. Send it long with the palms. And then you're gonna come all the way up, cross the ankles back behind you, and then find yourself at a seated position. Take your right leg extended out long, left foot comes to the inside. Now, work to open up that left hip a little bit further than you traditionally would. Reach the hands up at the inside of the legs. Rather than facing forward, we're just gonna fold on that diagonal. And right glute's gonna wanna lift up. Can you encourage it down? Maybe dropping the elbows. Some of you may be able to get a little bit further. It could just be right here, and that's perfectly fine. And then take the right elbow to the inside of that right thigh. Palm faces up. This is another one of my favorites. Left hand, reach it on up towards the sky. You could stay here or start to reach over. What I like to do is let my head rest in my hands, elbows moving in opposite directions. It's that nice stretch all through the lower back. It gets so, so tight. And then you're going to drop that left elbow first and then make your way back up. Keeping your left foot as it is, meet the right foot in towards it. It's a butterfly stance. Hold onto the feet, draw them in close, lengthen the chest forward, and then fold it forward, dropping down. Working to get the diagonal right rather than just slowly pulling yourself in. See if you can slowly extend yourself out. And then coming back up through center, we'll switch sides. Left leg comes forward, right foot comes to the inside. You're gonna start to open up that hip. Make sure the props are out of the way. And then you're gonna reach the hands up towards the sky at the inner thighs and then just fold forward. Maybe drop down to the elbows, it could be further. And then take the left elbow to the inside of the left thigh, palm is up. Right shoulder rolls back. You could reach up and over. Maybe do as we did before. We talked about taking the head and just resting it in the hands, elbows moving in opposite direction. That nice stretch through that whole right side body. And then you're gonna drop the right elbow first, and then you're gonna come back up through center. Take the feet and bring them together. This time you're gonna bring them a forearm's distance away from you. It's gonna get a little bit more into the hips as well as into the lower back. Holding onto the feet, find extension, and on the exhale, come halfway. We're gonna do this one more time. Inhale, see if you can lengthen a little further forward. And then exhale, just let the head drop and find yourself coming forward. So I know dealing with pain in the hips and the lower back, right? It can cause a lot of stress, not only physically, but mentally. Knowing that there's things we used to be able to do, maybe we can't do them the same anymore. But I encourage you to just know that when we modify, it's not because we have to simplify the practice. It's because we're listening to the body that day and we understand what it needs and what we should give it. And that's the most important thing. And then slowly come back up. You're going to take the right foot to the floor and then take the left foot to the floor at a 3/4 bend. Hands come right where the glutes would be, and then you're going to drop your hips to the middle of the mat. You're going to take your hands and reach them forward or hold on to the back of the thighs. Draw the navel in and then slowly make your way back as knees come in towards the chest. You're going to take that right leg and stack it on top of the left thigh, flexing both feet. Right knee is going to want to come in. Try to encourage it away. Hold on to the back of the left thigh or hold on to the left shin, drawing it in towards you. Really working to keep that chin at a neutral position. And then release the tension that you have there. Take that right leg and thread it completely over the left. Arms out in T. You're going to take the left foot, bring it to the floor, and then lift the hips so you drop the left glute down on the mat. Now draw the knees all the way over to that left side. Maybe the bottom foot wraps around that thigh or that calf. Gaze over the right shoulder. And then before we even come back through center, take the left foot, bring it towards the floor, and then we just meet at neutral. Hold there for a moment. And then we're at shoelace. Feet moving in opposite direction, holding on to the feet or the shins, drawing it in towards you. I know I feel a lot of this today. I've been cycling, doing a lot of bar. So I really feel this. And then we're just gonna release it. Taking the right and left foot to the edges of the mat. One hand rests on the belly, one hand rests on the heart. Draw the knees to touch. And we'll just allow the lower back to start to lower down towards the mat. And then separate the knees. You're going to bring your left leg on top of the right. It's that figure 4 shape, drawing the legs in towards you. You can hold onto the back of the thigh or maybe onto the calf, keeping the feet flexed, encouraging it in. And then release the tension of that draw in of the leg. Threading the left leg on top of the right, drop your right foot to the floor. Arms out in T, lift the glutes up so that the right glute comes down. And then we lift the knees and draw them over towards the right side to get a little bit of a deeper twist. You may be able to stack that bottom foot, maybe, maybe not. Look over your left shoulder. And then taking the right foot, bring it to the floor. You're gonna draw the knees back through center, situate your hips at the middle of the mat. And just hold for a moment. And then taking both knees and curl them in, feet moving in opposite directions, holding onto the shins, the feet, the thighs, wherever works for you. I like holding onto the shins into the calf area. I'm working to just keep my tailbone grounded. And then releasing that hold, you're gonna place the feet on the corners of the mat once again. Bring the knees to touch, opposite hand on the heart, opposite on the belly if you can remember it there. And then you're gonna take the knees and drop them over to your left side. Take your left bottom foot and stack it on top of your right thigh. Hands are gonna reach up and over your head, and then just create an O shape of the arms, and grabbing at the palms. And then releasing the left leg first, bring it to the corner of the mat. Draw the knees back through center, just keep the arms where they are. We'll drop the knees over to the right side, stacking the right foot on top of your left thigh. It's that nice opening right through the top of that hip joint. It's that pull sensation downward. For me, it feels like a lot of length is being created, and I just love that sensation. And then dropping the right foot first, come back through center. Drawing both knees in towards the chest. Hold onto the shins, encourage them in nice and close, little sway from side to side. And then you're gonna find stillness. We'll find happy baby as our final posture. Holding on peace fingers to big toes or holding on to the outer blades of the feet, encouraging the legs down. Now, if this doesn't work, there's always the option to grab a hold of the ankles and then just try to relax the shoulder blades down. And then when you're ready, feet come to touch. You're gonna draw the feet to the mat, knees are going to come to touch as well. You're gonna roll over onto your right side and press up onto that right elbow to come up to seated. Grabbing hold of your blocks, you're gonna place them at, I'll let you decide, the lowest setting, right, is gonna be a little bit less of a heart opener here. If you set it to the highest, obviously it's going to be a little bit more. Stagger them a little bit and create this T shape with your blocks. Now, if the blocks are quite uncomfortable, what you can do is use a blanket over top of them. And then once you have that situated, you'll need to play with it a little bit. You're gonna scoot yourself back and then place your back onto the block and head onto the block back behind it. So I'm finding I need to scoot my furthest block a little bit further back, and there I have it. If you'd like to extend your legs out long, that's a great option here. If you wanna work into your hips, allow the feet to come to touch and knees wide. Now this may be a lot, so just play with that. Elbows resting down, palms facing up. This is how we will end our practice. Just close your eyes, settle in with the breath. Then very gently start to wiggle the fingers and the toes. If you have more time, I encourage you stay here maybe 5-10 minutes. And if you're with me and you're ready to come out of this, slowly start to roll the weight over to one side. And you're going to allow yourself to come onto your side completely. Draw the knees in a little bit closer and head resting down. And then pressing into the palms, come up to a seated position. Eyes closed, hands in prayer at heart center. Finding gratitude here for all your body can do. And with that in heart, drawing hands to third eye center. The light in me sees and honors the light in each and every one of you, yogis. Namaste. Thanks for practicing with me today, and I hope to see you in another class very soon.